Hello everyone and welcome on the Papier de Rêve channel. I'm Ursula and today I will be painting with you a strawberry trees with some fruits on it. In reality, the subject I'm painting today is not really relevant. I just have this picture in my mind that I want to paint, but mostly I want to try the new colors I've acquired these last few days, and that's all for this painting. As I was in need of some hot press paper, I take this opportunity to also try some new colors for my watercolor painting, and I choose the brand Isaro, that is a Belgian brand that made handmade watercolor colors. I wanted to try them for a long time because they have a high quality reputation and they have a really broad color chart that's quite nice to choose from. And these paints are made with some honey in it, a bit like the Sennelier colors that I love also, but the texture of it is a little bit more liquidy, but that's not really impacting the color, I think. It feels like I'm using a little bit more than my Daniel Smith or my Sennelier color, but I think it's just in my head. And you can see me right now using a spray. It's an effect spray from Schminke and it's also new, and I'm not really sure if I like it for now. I have to try it a little bit more and I will talk you about it if I think it's great a little bit later. When I try a new brand of watercolor, I like to buy a triad of color that I can work and make a painting with it only. So from this brand I've chosen Indian yellow, Prussian blue and Perylene red. It's a bit of an odd triad. Just because it's not a really primary color, it's a little bit colors that are quite primary but not totally. For example, the yellow is way too orangey to be a primary color, and the Prussian blue is also a little bit not as brilliant or vibrant than a cyan or an ultramarine blue. But I wanted this kind of color just because I think it's a great triad for fall, especially for the Perylene red. It's a really dark red that is really not vibrant at all. It's a little bit more earthy. And I think it brings a lot of warmth in the painting. So with this odd triad, I can get really interesting colors with it. The greens are a little bit muddy just because the yellow I've chosen is warm and the Prussian blue is more on the cold side. So when you mix them together, you get muddy color, and I just want that right now. I think it adds a lot of warmth to a painting, and it's really interesting. And for a little bit more texture in my watercolor layers, I also use a little bit of Sodalite Genuine. It's also a new color for me from Daniel Smith, and it's made with some Sodalite. So it's a pigment that is coming directly from Earth. It's really an interesting color because it's bluish, a little bit grayish also, but it has a lot of granulation into it, and it's really a beautiful color to use. As you can see, my watercolor is really messy. I'm trying to mix all the colors a little bit together in order to get some insight of what they can do together. And I like that. I like how the Perylene red will muddy a bit more the greens. I like all the green my mix of Prussian blue and Indian yellow make. I think they are really interesting, and everything is making some really interesting texture also. There is a lot going on this painting. And Prussian blue in particular is quite strange to work with because when it's wet it looks almost turquoise and mixed with Indian yellow it really looks turquoise. But when it dries the vibrancy in it is really changing and it gets a little bit muddier, a little bit more natural, and I like really a lot this kind of colors because I think it's a little bit more natural and easy to work with, and it makes really beautiful greens with it. And I did use some Prussian blue when I started watercolors years ago. But I almost forget about it because of ultramarine blue, indent blue, and all the blues that are existing in watercolor. There are a lot of blue, and I just forgot about this Prussian blue. So it's quite nice to rediscover this one. And now that I'm happy with my layer of watercolor, I will let it dry and talk you through about my supplies. For the brushes, I'm using an Escoda Último 1 inch and a Raphaël Petit Gris 903 number 12. For the colors, I'm using Indian yellow, Prussian blue, Perylene red, and Sodalite genuine. And today my paper is from Arches in hot pressed. For the last step in this painting, I've chosen to work with watercolor pencil instead of adding some details with traditional watercolor. Just because I wanted to try something new, as this watercolor painting was about experimenting with new colors. I think it was a great opportunity to use another medium to make some details on the paper. I'm using watercolor pencil just because that's what I have on my desk today. I do not own regular color pencil, but if you have those, it will work also because I will not use any water on top of the watercolor pencil. So for the details, I'm just adding some color here and there. I'm trying to define some shape, but not too much, just because I do not want a lot of things more to happen on this painting. There is a lot already. There is a lot of texture, there is a lot of colors, and I just want to bring some area, some shapes a little bit more in the front. I will try to make some leaves appear in my paper without adding too much. I want something a little bit more delicate. And even though I'm not owning a lot of colors in my watercolor pencil, I think I have 15 different colors only. All the colors I have are working so great with all the colors. They are already here on my paper. All the green I have from my watercolor pencil are a little bit muddy as the green I have on my paper. And I do not have any red color in my watercolor pencil, but I have something that is quite similar to the Perylene red. So it's really interesting that my colors of watercolor pencil are working so great with my painting today. I have not listed all the colors of watercolor pencil I've used in the middle of my video, but if you want to know a little bit more about them, I will list them in the description box below the video if you want. This painting was really fun to make just because I love to try new colors. I think it's always very interesting to try some colors that you are not really used to use. So that part was fun, and also the part with watercolor pencil was really fun. I didn't know really where I wanted to go with it, but I think it adds a little bit of delicacy in it, and it's a good way to add some details but not too much. And this video is now ending. Thanks for watching and I hope you like it. Please check the blog post for more information about it and tell me what you think in the comment. See you soon.